the 2020 election, it is already under attack. You thought I was going to say underway. No, under attack. A new report from Politico reveals disinformation campaigns are happening as we speak, and they mirror Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Politico now reporting the main targets appear to be Democratic presidential candidates: Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and prospective candidate Beto O'Rourke. The attacks are in the form of misinformation posted about the candidates, you guessed it, on Twitter and other social media platforms.
Now, Politico reports Senator Kamala Harris is among the most targeted. A tweet attacking the senator with racist and sexist stereotypes was seen by about 8.6 million people. In Elizabeth Warren's case, Politico reports a, quote, false narrative surfaced alleging that a black-faced doll appeared on a kitchen cabinet in the background of the senator's Instagram live stream. And this troubling report comes just weeks after the Daily Beast reported on staffing cuts to groups fighting election meddling at the federal level. The task forces were formed in response to Russia's interference into the election of 2016.
And remember, we had asked, are they just taking these groups apart and replacing them or putting them together?
Right.
And there was no clear answer. Yeah. In Capitol Hill testimony, that stood in stark contrast to President Trump last month. The National Intelligence Director, Dan Coats, crystallized just how bad the threats are.
We assess that foreign actors will view the 2020 U.S. elections as an opportunity to advance their interests. We expect them to refine their capabilities and add new tactics as they learn from each other's experiences and efforts in previous elections. The Kremlin is stepping up its campaign to divide Western political and security institutions and undermine the post-World War II international order. We expect Russia will continue to wage its information war against democracies and to use social media to attempt to divide our societies.
All right, joining us now is Politico's Natasha Korecki, who wrote that report, and NBC's Ben Collins, who tracks online disinformation efforts. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being with us. Natasha, explain the method behind your reporting. What kind of posts did you see, and how did you track them?
Well, we saw posts that really attacked 2020 candidates on a range of issues, but really racially charged posts. Some of them were outright lies, outright disinformation. You mentioned the Warren blackface doll. That was something that we tracked, and that was actually one of the first things we saw. We saw that on one platform, and then we saw it on a different platform being amplified. But through the course of our work, we worked with a tech group called Guardians AI out of New York, and they are a group of data scientists who did this report last year that showed there was this distinct cluster of accounts that had been involved in the 2018 midterms. Well, that very same cluster is up and running and amplifying negative memes and disinformation related to many of the 2020 candidates, but in particular the four that we mentioned.
And I'm not asking you to reveal, sort of how you trace this back, but in broader terms, yes, we're seeing similar characteristics, similar accounts. How does that take you back to Russia?
Well, that part of it, I will say, briefly that there's no conclusive evidence saying that it's Russian interference. There is probable patterns that indicate that is the case. And for that, we rely on many different people that we interviewed and this extensive research that the Guardians AI did. And that was mainly looking at similar patterns that they were finding with spiking, co-spiking around this group of 200 accounts amplified by tens of thousands of other accounts. And they were seeing similar patterns that they had seen and in the digital community had agreed that this was the type of activity and patterns exhibited by Russian interference in 2016.
So, Ben, try and quantify this for us, because as Natasha said, it's about patterns. Given what we know about 2016, what do these patterns indicate, and how do you quantify them?
Well, so basically they start off in these really small spaces. They start off on 4chan or Discord, these other online information spaces that are unmoderated.
Right.
And people...
Just take us back.
Yeah.
Walk us through what 4chan is. Just...
Absolutely. So 4chan is this, it's an unmoderated website that's owned by a guy in Japan now. And basically, it's completely anonymous. People can post whatever they want on there and their username is just a string of numbers and letters. From there, people take that, they coalesce around an idea, they take that to other platforms like Reddit that are a little bit more moderated, but a lot more seen. Then those things get blasted out onto Facebook and Twitter in a coordinated fashion. That can be Russia. That can be Iran, which has done this before. But it can also just be regular people. And it can be people jumping in, what you call useful idiots.
Right.
Pushing a narrative that otherwise would not have been there. It's totally artificial.
So is there something, Natasha was saying, and I don't know if you come to the same conclusion, that you can't determine where it's from. The pattern looks similar to some of the things that were put forward by the Internet Research Agency, the troll farm, the Russian troll farm in 2016, but it's not clear where it's all coming from.
Right, so they slip up eventually, usually. They log into, basically, they forget to use a thing called a VPN, which hides where you're coming in from. And then they accidentally log in from the Internet Research Agency's actual computers, and then Twitter and Facebook can see that network and pull it down. But that sort of thing takes months. That sort of thing happens retroactively. So we can sort of sense the feeling of these same things. We can see talking points, we can see syntax, and then have that feeling either confirmed or denied later on. But it's really hard to track in real time. This is the problem. This is we unfortunately need to lean on these networks like Twitter and Facebook.
Because these platforms have no standards or very, very loose standards. Natasha, in putting together this report, have you heard from the social media platforms? Are they saying anything?
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, they're very aware of these issues. They're very sensitive to what's happened in the past, and both Twitter and Facebook say they've put in many security measures. They've produced different data sets to make it easier for researchers to look at what they've taken down from foreign actors. I should add that there are definite signs that a lot of this is domestic activity as well. It's not just foreign actors, but certainly both of the two major, and Facebook, of course, runs Instagram. But if you talk to these campaigns, privately, they'll say Twitter is still, in their minds, the Wild West. They don't feel like they can really monitor what's going on. They feel like there's a lot of suspicious and inauthentic accounts and a lot of behavior already. I mean, they're already seeing it, and we just have started the 2020 race.
Given everything that we know, given everything that Facebook knows, given what Twitter knows, given what you two know, is there some likelihood that the effect of this is going to be muted in this election as opposed to amplified?
It's both. Right?
Okay.
What do you mean muted? Like,
no, I know what you're
there's
saying.
so much garbage out there, it turns into white noise?
Or people maybe have learned to clean up their feeds and so.
I would hope so. I mean, a lot of this comes at a civic engagement level. You have to tell people, like, listen, this is nonsense.
Consuming a lot of garbage, yeah.
You're consuming a lot of garbage. Listen to this thing. Look, I think we should give up on the idea that Facebook and Twitter are going to help this situation. They are not going to do it in the amount of time that we need to do it. We need education at a basic level, not just for kids, but for everybody, to say, look twice. Really look twice at these things, because Facebook, while it does want to stop this stuff, its new initiative is called Groups, which is with groups on Facebook. And we asked them last week, what are you doing to stop the same problems that you had with Newsfeed last time, where all this disinformation was abound? And they said nothing. They said, we're not going to do anything this time. And it's like they've learned nothing at all. So we can't.
Well, let's
I know.
Be naive.
Sure.
We're not really self-policing. We're not really cleaning up our groups, are
Right.
we?
No, of course not.
We always say that, oh my God, Facebook has had such a terrible year. No, they didn't. They killed it in earnings. They didn't lose advertisers.
Right.
They're having a bad PR stint. They don't like hearing this conversation
not
about
actually
happening.
costing
but
them
they're kicking it.
Yeah, that's correct. Until it actually starts to hurt their bottom line, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
So, we need to change things on a one-to-one level between people, and then maybe it can force some pressure onto the tech companies.
Well, if I could add one thing, that if you look at the 2020 campaigns, it does seem just broadly that they're pretty unprepared at this point.
That's definitely true.
They don't. They're focusing on getting their message out. They're focusing on fundraising and these videos with their pets and whatnot. But if you really try to dig in on security and what they're doing specifically to prevent what happened in the past, they're really behind. And educating people individually, you can try that. But I think even studies show that if you can present somebody with fake news, tell them what it is and not to pay attention to it, and it still penetrates.
Now, really quickly, Brad Parscale, who ran the digital operation for Trump 2016, is the campaign director for 2020. He knows memes. He knows all this stuff. He knows how effective it is. It's how we won. And there's no equivalent on the left right now.
And Allie, on a personal level, when people see fake news, if it's fake news that supports what they already believe, they suck it in. There's a saying that, if Page Six writes something about you, you say, oh my God, this is a complete lie. And then right under that, when it's an article about the guy next to you, you're like, oh my goodness. It's human nature.
Yeah. All right, it's good to know we've learned nothing. But thanks to the two of you.
That's not true.
Well, they have, but maybe the consuming public have. Maybe the campaigns haven't. I mean, our government has not been particularly aggressive about this. Look what the UK is doing, and Europeans are doing about these things. We hold hearings where people don't really understand why things show up on their phone. Just saying, we have another election coming up. Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.